So, your loved one needs some help or has fallen ill, and you need someone to look after them, but you have no idea where to begin to find the right care. Let's Talk Home Care with Aishling is here to help. Join us weekly on our journey to educate families on home care for their loved ones. Now, here's your host, Aishling.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Home Care with Aishling. And this is one of our new series that we're doing in relation to Let's Talk Home Care with Aishling. We're going to be talking about caregivers and CNAs that come into the arena that actually work in home care or work in the hospitals, that can be working as a sitter for somebody who's come from home. We're also going to talk about caregivers that work for home health, rehab, all of those other things that I had promised when we decided to launch these new podcasts this year with a focus on CNAs and healthcare and where we're going. So, we're going to be interviewing today a previous student called Daphne who came to the Aishling-CNA Academy. And we're going to talk to Daphne most specifically because she's an immigrant here to this country, and I wanted to talk about some of the issues and some of the challenges that she's had to navigate as an immigrant coming here, and how she has navigated coming into school and what her goals are and what she loves about home care and stuff like that. So, welcome, Daphne, to Let's Talk Home Care with Ashley.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So, Daphne, let's dive straight in. Let's talk a little bit about who is Daphne, where did you come from, and how long have you been here, we'll say, in the US? Tell us a little bit about you.
So hi everyone. My name is Daphne. I came to the United States when I was around 12. Uh, I don't really go here and stay for a long time because I just go here for my school breaks. So that I just go here every year for like 2 months. That's the maximum. And just recently, I decided to permanently stay here since October of last year to continue my nursing school. And with that, I came across Aishling's school, which helped me a lot with my stay here. It's the first time I experienced education in the States, and it was a really it was a good experience for just like 6 weeks, 5 weeks. I learned a lot, so I could say that it's really been good, and Aishling has really helped me in
Oh, well,
regards to my education.
thanks for saying that,
Thank you so
Daphne.
much for.
Oh my goodness, you're so welcome. But I wanted to go back to, so why have you chosen, we'll say, the United States? What has the United States got to offer you? We'll say that the Philippines doesn't. What's attracting you to stay here to further your education?
um I believe that there's so much more opportunities here compared to my country. In my country, I love my country, but
Of course.
there's just too much. You know, I could compare since I have been here like since I was young, so I could compare. You know how both um in regards to healthcare.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
yeah, the third world country where I came from, and I could see how how the nurses work so hard for such little amount of
Yes.
money they get paid for,
Yes.
and compared to here, I have so many more opportunities, and the healthcare system is just it's more advanced. There's more fair treatment with the in regards to just pay
Sure.
benefits in
Sure.
healthcare. So
Sure.
that is why I decided to just go to school here, since I believe also that in regards to education there in nursing, if I compare it to what I experience here in America, we're more experienced with studying.
Yeah,
Actually, like it's so I'm not trying to like judge or anything, but it's too complex. It's like more on the book stuff there.
in the Philippines, it's harder.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's hard.
okay.
Sometimes you get exams from the topics that we're not really talking about. Maybe it has something to do with like they want us to be more conditioned, like emotionally. When it comes to our grades, it's more pressured. When
They
it comes
want
to
you
our
to be more
grades,
what?
they yeah, they want us to be more inclined when regards to our
Got it.
grades. But
Got it.
what I love about the states is we are more trained, um more skill set here. There's more
Yes.
skills. You're more trained. Like I want to learn how Americans, like the healthcare system here works. So it's better off to just start schooling here than continue it there in the Philippines, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
yes. No, I
Because then
completely understand. And anyway, I would
yeah,
imagine even if you did stay in the Philippines, Daphne, I would imagine that it would be quite complex to bring that paperwork over here and then to have it converted through, we'll say, the Illinois Department of Public Health for
yes,
you to be accepted as a nurse here. And I say that because I'm from Ireland, as you know, originally, and we have
yeah,
had a massive influx of Philippine RNs over the course of the last 30, 40 years, in actual fact, in
really,
Ireland. Yes, yes, it's a big attraction for
wow,
Philippine RNs to go to Ireland, and our Irish government actually love hiring the Philippine nurses just because of the culture in the background. That I always say
hmm,
your culture is quite similar to mine in Ireland in the sense that it's just in our nature and our upbringing to be nurturers and to provide care for family members, not because you're being paid to do it, just because you want it. So that's something that's kind of ingrained in the Philippine culture. It's also in the Irish culture as well that you always take care of your own. Now, I'm not saying that
right,
that's not the state here in the United States. I'm just saying our cultures do align. But I also understand that it's a massive process, possibly years, to get all of those certifications and licensures switched over, even in Ireland. So I would imagine it would be pretty much the same here. And I know that lots of Philippine nurses that have come here to the United States before have had to take more classes to qualify, we'll
right,
say, for our system here. So I 100% understand what you're saying. And actually, you're very smart, Daphne, to do it here and learn from the ground up so that you do know an actual fact, the whole entire system, so to speak. So now let's talk a little bit about your journey. So why healthcare, Daphne? Like why healthcare? I know you started going to nursing school in the Philippines as well, and then you decided to come here and pursue it here. But why did you choose that profession? Is there a little back end story? Usually there is. Do you have a story to tell about a grandmother or about somebody that made an impact in your life that has steered you towards healthcare?
that's actually funny because healthcare was really not my choice.
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't the- it was the first it's the first career that I really wouldn't think about ever since I was like my mom really wants me to be a nurse.
okay.
Before I started college, I was very indecisive, and I started going to nursing school just it's like a decision that was very impulsive.
Yes.
I didn't really think into it, but one thing that motivated me is my grandparents are actually in the medical field.
Okay.
I saw how they're very patient with people.
Yes.
It is amazing. Like it it's amazing how they, how they, when you're around them, it's like there's a healing effect to it for some reason, including my uncle. He also went to school for
Okay.
medicine, and like out of everyone that I've met in my life, it's like when I'm with them, it's kind of there's this pressure, but at the same time, it's the kind of pressure that helps me,
Yes.
and I want that effect on other people as well, who are struggling with, you know what I mean? Like, I want to help people.
Right.
And
So it's
yeah,
in your, it's not just part of your culture, it's who Daphne is. It's in your inner heart that you want to provide care and take care of people.
yes, especially the Filipinos. I'm pretty sure, like, if you've worked with a Filipino nurse, we really love taking care of our own
Yes.
grandparents. Like here in the States, where they just send them to nursing homes. We love taking care of old people. I love old people, personally.
Yeah.
Um, it's just in our culture as well. So
Yes, I agree.
that's one thing. Yes,
Yeah.
I grew up with, I have, ever since I was a baby, I grew up with old people.
Yeah.
So,
So you
that's my passion.
basically, like myself, from a very young age, my grandmother lived with us. So I always say, not only was I fortunate to have one mother, I was blessed and very fortunate I had two. So my grandmother was a massive influence in my life, and just watching her being that much older from my mom and living with us every day and seeing how she interacted with myself and my family, I just grew to love seniors and advocating for them and respecting them and understanding how much knowledge they have to give and how much they have lived through life, and when they tell you something, you better listen up because they actually have first round
Right.
experience of stuff. They're
You're so right.
mhm.
I feel like we have, our your country and my country have the same, when regards to, like, taking care of,
Sure, sure. It's just,
right?
it's in the way we were raised. I think you
Yeah.
want to actually do this type of work. And you heard me say this in the school. We can teach anybody to be a CNA, but we don't really want to have people coming into the academy that just want a job. We actually want people who want to do the job, not be the job.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Because that provides and makes a much better CNA when he or she actually wants to give back and sees the pleasure, not just the hard
Yes.
work, but sees the pleasure and what they can get back from taking care of seniors. So we definitely say that you gravitate towards seniors, so you have an old
Yeah.
soul, so to speak, and you want to use
Yes.
that.
That's,
Got it. Okay, got it.
I believe you also have it.
Yeah, okay. All right. So then we know now why you picked the healthcare field. So then tell us, after you decided that this is what you wanted to do. I think I asked you this before, how you found our academy, and I think you told me you found it through a Google search. Was that right?
Yeah, my mom did it.
Your mom did it. Okay. And she
Yeah.
she just Googled what, certified nursing assistant schools in the area.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. So now, one of the things I'd like to talk about, Daphne, and for those that are listening, I just want you to know that none of what Daphne and I are talking about has been rehearsed. We haven't practiced this. I want you, Daphne, to be
Exactly.
totally honest and transparent because that's part of who I am as well. I always tell the truth, whether it hurts or not. And I always say when I find negative things out, I actually grow from those better because I want to do better and I improve more. So I'd like to hear from your perspective, because I'm trying so hard to change the future of healthcare and bring in students who actually want to do this type of work. Can you tell us what your experience was coming in through our school, from basically the time that I met with you personally, until the you started? Were you very anxious? Were you at ease? Did you feel that everything was kind of thrown at you, or did you feel like, oh, I think I can do this? Was it step by step, bite-sized pieces? Tell me what your experience was from when you contacted us first, because I think this is important for other students to understand when they start the same journey.
When I started going to school in Aishling, at first I was scared, honestly, because this is my first time, right, in my education here. And then as time went by, I was really happy because I learned a lot, not just from the lessons that our teacher taught us, but also, the point of view of my
Yeah.
classmates and how they helped me. I learned a lot just by observing how they, how they interact and how they help me, and like how are the people here really. Unlike my workplace, when you work, you just work, right? Like
Right.
you don't really, everyone's just busy working.
Yeah.
But when I'm in school, it's like I get to talk to them, and then like they know it. Like my classmates know how curious I am, so I ask them around, and they sometimes it's a bit difficult, and like I could say that it's there's this miscommunication because like what I said, I grew up with a different culture, so I don't think they understand some things that right. So but they are like, one thing for is for sure that I really learned that you know people here are very nice. Actually, they're helpful. My classmates were very helpful, and I admire how they are very hardworking.
Good. Well, I'm really glad
Yeah.
to hear that because I'm not in class with you every week. It's a nurse who teaches class,
Yes.
but it's important to me that we build that camaraderie and that you
Yeah.
don't
Exactly.
feel that you're an island because you're an immigrant and you're coming from a different country. I would never want anybody to feel that. I would want you to feel very welcome. And it really makes me happy to know that you were well received and that your classmates helped you through
Yeah.
as they were going through as well as, we'll say,
Yeah.
not a naturally born American citizen.
They're very much fun actually.
Good.
Just looking at them, oh my gosh, it makes me happy. I actually miss them. I think they're working in the same workplace now, but
Yes.
they're so much fun. They try to really cheer me up. And like in our reportings in the dementia simulation rather, it was so much fun. I had learned a lot, and like being around my classmates, it wasn't boring at all.
Good. Now, I
Like,
do have to ask you this, and I'm asking you this for a very particular reason. And again, I want you to be very honest. Through the
mhm,
years when I had my home care company, I used to get a lot of families who would say to me, I don't want anybody that has an accent. In other words, that would be you. They would say they wouldn't want you,
my
not
god.
necessarily because of your culture, but they would say, I don't want somebody with an accent. So, how did you find that that was a barrier when you were with your classmates? Did you find that a barrier at all?
Honestly, no. I thought it would be a barrier, but well, for me, yeah, it was because sometimes they can't really hear me, not just because of my accent, but because of the way I speak,
Sure.
which is very soft.
Sure.
But aside from that, they just tell me like talk loudly because I really speak so soft.
Yes.
But aside from that, nothing really. They just tell me like there's nothing wrong with being, like you're exotic and stuff like that.
Good.
They I never really felt like um an outcast with them.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And then just
Yeah.
go back briefly and tell me, Daphne, when you came in and I interviewed you to see if you were a good fit to come into the school, because I don't think people understand me or understand, we'll say, the journey that I'm on. Whilst this is a business and I'm here, of course, to make money, it's more mission driven for me because I just want to recruit those people who actually love what they do and create that positivity and sprinkle it throughout their work. So, not everybody makes it after I interview them. If I sense that they have a really bad attitude, or they're just not in it for the right reasons, or they're not good communicators, that's not really, a person that I think would be best served by coming through the school. So, did you feel from the questions that I asked you in the interview that I was getting a really good perception of who you were and where you wanted to be and where you want to go?
Oh yeah, I felt when you were when I went there for the interview, right? You mean?
Yes, yes,
Yeah. I feel like um I feel like you were just assessing if I was really like my heart was into it,
yes, yes. Okay,
right?
good, good. All right.
Yeah.
So now, one of the big disconnects that I see is I've seen the other side of it, right? So you come through school, we do everything by the book. You have to pass the examination in our school. That core curriculum is written. by innate testing, we'll say, so to speak, with the curriculum that they give us. So you have to pass out of school, and then you have to go sit your state exam. So, what you were taught in school when you went to do your clinicals, did you
Mhm.
find that the knowledge that you had learned set you up, or were you kind of shocked what you saw in all reality as to what goes on in your clinical setting?
I was really actually in when we did our clinicals, it was really pretty easy, honestly, and it was really step by step
Yes, good.
because it's straight. So unlike in our country, it's kind of you're just I don't know how you call it, but it's like you're left alone doing all the duty stuff in the
So
hospital.
there's no
Whereas
supervision,
when I did my
so to speak, once you're
yeah,
trained. You're literally thrown to the wolves. Now go.
you're just you're on your own.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when I was doing my clinicals in Victorian Village, um,
You
we
loved
did it
it.
step by step,
Good. 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 Good.
which yeah, which was like more helpful to me
Of
since
course.
you really learn how to do the skills.
Yes.
You, like um, how do you call it? Like you really have an idea how to do it um in order.
Yes, and I think what you're saying too is it's when you're being taught the curriculum in the book, you're looking at a beautiful picture with the client in the bed and you're told how to do the steps. We'll say how to do a bed bath, and then you do the steps in your lab in the school, but then it's kind of different because now you're working with a real live sick frail elderly person. And
Exactly.
yes, and you're the newbie, so to speak, because you're actually doing clinicals under the supervision of our nurse who's watching and then checking
Mm-hmm.
off that you're actually able to do everything in the right, correct manner. But it's with real
Yeah,
people. So I'm sure it's nerve wracking. I know I remember when I did it, it was nerve wracking for me. And
really.
yes, yes, it was because it's not the mannequin in the lab anymore. It's a real person who may fight back, or who might not want you to do the care, or who might be depressed, or might be sad, or
Yeah, right.
dementia. There's all sorts of things. So that's good. I'm glad that you were able to share the light on that. All right, now so let's talk about, Daphne, do you understand as a CNA the different places that you will be able to work? Do you understand really all the things that are available to you?
Um, I don't really know, but I do know that we could work in several healthcare settings like the hospital, the nursing homes.
Yes.
We could do live-ins,
Yes, you can.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Agencies and home assistants.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I know.
Yes, and do you understand the different um, kind of restrictions that are put on you, the different scope of practices? We'll say from home care to home health, and then in the hospital, you might be able to do a little bit more. Do you understand all of that, or no?
Yes, I do. What I learned in school is just as long as it's in our
Scope of practice.
responsibilities,
Yes. Yes. Oh,
like we could do it,
good.
then
Good.
unless we're supervised by the nurse, then
Sure. All right, Daphne, next
yeah,
question. So obviously you love being a CNA. Obviously, you and I talked beforehand. I'm going to help place you in a job that I just know you'll be wonderful in. And if it doesn't work for you, then we'll find you another one. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about your further education. So many people don't understand, especially for a woman, and I'm not saying this because I'm sexist, I'm just saying that generally speaking, women like yourself get married and then eventually they have children, and sometimes they jump out of healthcare and they don't come back. And then when their kids are raised, they feel, well, I don't have any skill set, so to speak. So I don't know what I would do. I can't go back to college now. I'm too old. So I'm trying to change all of this myth and educate that what you just came through, and when you get your actual certification, that this is a very valuable thing for you to have and to keep. Even if you did get married and you want to stay at home and raise your children, I want young people to understand that you could supplement your husband's income. You can be at home with your children, put them on the bus in the morning and be home in the afternoon to take them off the bus and put dinner on the table, still do your housework and your errands, but you could still work with a very flexible schedule and continue to soar as a CNA. Had you ever thought about that, or did you even think about that possibility of this being very lucrative once you obtain it?
Um, like, what do you mean? Like, say that again. I'm
Have you
sorry.
do you understand that now that you're certified, that this is something that you'll have with you for the rest of your life if you continue to be active in on the healthcare worker registry, insofar as if you get married and you jump out of it for a couple of years? Do you understand that it's a great career option to always be able to put your hand back to 10, 15, 20 years down the road? Have you ever thought about that?
Oh yeah. Actually, I really am, like, when I got my certificate and when I passed the exam, I know that it's something that, you know, like, I have this confidence that I could be, I will have it,
Yeah.
that career,
Yes. Yeah.
even if going to school. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, that's good. And that's why I was asking you that question, because so many of the folks, Daphne, that come in for various different reasons, they don't realize that if it doesn't work out in a place that they work over and over again, sometimes they just say, oh, forget it, and they don't maintain the certificate, and then they do go on to get
Oh.
married and they do go on to have children, but they don't come back into healthcare. And I often wonder, do they know that it's something that can be maintained and kept forever? That was really
Ah.
that I was asking, because some people lose, well, a lot of people lose their active status because they're not active, because they have maybe taken a career break, or life happens, or something's going on maybe with their parents where they just can't work outside of the home. And then they,
Oh yeah.
and there's a lot of that which really annoys me, that they don't know how to get it back.
Yeah. I do understand though that something that you really will have forever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that people get out of it,
Well, they
the
do, and that's a whole other podcast, because what happens is a lack of communication skills in many of the CNA people, or students who go out there in the workforce. They don't know how to advocate for themselves, and you and I and the students talked a little bit about that communication piece. It is the success or the downfall of every company and every country. So
yeah.
yes, and sadly, there is a little bit of a stigma out there with CNAs. I've heard this, my gosh, so many times from many of the students. You heard it in your class as well, that CNAs oftentimes are looked down on, as being the butt wipers, is what they call themselves. Sometimes they do all the really hard work in the trenches, and they sometimes say they're the unseen workforce. They're the backbone of every facility, but they always say they're never seen. And a lot of that may be or may not be true. I'm not sure, but the reality is that you will be seen if you know how to advocate for yourself, and if you do the right thing each and every time, and that you know how to work with team members. That's a big communication piece that sadly I believe is lacking today, in candidates that come out of the school or graduate out of the school, but don't know how to advocate for themselves. So
Yeah.
communication is key. And oftentimes when they don't like a job, they just quit. And then they start at another facility, and then guess what? They don't like that, so they quit. And I call that the hamster wheel. They keep quitting and they keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and eventually they just say, whatever, I'm just going to work privately. And sadly, lots of times that's what they do. They work privately and they fall off the radar, and then they don't come back into healthcare. So that's another big piece that we'll talk about on another podcast. So tell me
Okay.
what your dreams are. So one of the questions that I asked you when you interviewed with me, and I ask every student, is where do you want to be this time next year? Where do you want to be 3 years from now? And where do you want to be 5 years from now and 20 years from now? And most people can't answer those questions because they haven't laid out their clear path of where they want to go and what they want to do, which is sadly quite often why they fail, right? Because you got to start
Yeah,
and work your way back. So,
exactly. Um,
where do you want to be 2 years from now?
I want to be. I see myself working part time somewhere in like a hospital or something while doing my nursing school.
Okay, so you're going on to be a
Here,
nurse.
yes, I really want to be a
Good,
nurse.
good. And do you have
And
a specific area in nursing that you want to specialize in, or do you want to just do general nursing when you're done?
uh, I think I really want to be a travel nurse or
Okay.
ge- maybe a geriatric
Yeah.
nurse since I love old people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe that when you did your project on dementia care. Is that true? Why did
Yes.
you pick the dementia project as part of
Uh,
your testing when you came through the academy?
I because I dementia is special to me since my mom is taking care of a patient with dementia, and I really had um a bond with him. And dementia is very there's something about it that makes me so
Yeah.
curious because there's something about them, like they act like babies, but you know that they get you. You know, it's very intriguing to me that people with dementia, like old people with dementia, are very intriguing to me.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, I don't.
because you have a vested interest from the get-go that you really want
Yeah.
to understand them. And it's interesting that you brought that up because one of the missing components in dementia care, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is that we don't
Yeah.
take the time to understand the culture and the lifestyle of the person that has the dementia. And that is actually the key to success when you're taking care of somebody with dementia. You cannot just go in full
Really.
force, do the tasks, and try and take care of them unless you know who was this person, because that person is still there.
Ah,
Very
okay.
important.
So their past is important to them. That's what you're saying.
So their past is extremely important to you as a caregiver, because when you understand, we'll say, were they married, did they have children, what's their favorite color, what's their favorite cookie, what's their favorite smell, what's their pet peeves, what do they not like. When you know all of those tools, you can use those tools to provide better care or to encourage them to do what
Mm.
you do while you're there. So for example, as a CNA, you have tasks, and you might be hired specifically, we'll say in the home care setting, to come in and to bathe somebody and to help them get dressed and prepare their meal. We'll say, for example, if you're taking care of a Filipino man, well, maybe that Filipino man, based on his culture, is not interested in the American hamburger for dinner, but he might be more interested in having some form of rice with vegetables, because why? That was his culture and that's the food that he likes. So by not
Mm.
preparing that and knowing his culture and what he likes to eat, you're really setting yourself up for failure, is really what you're doing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's very
Um,
important. But that's, again, that's a whole other podcast. So are you interested
okay.
in advancing to become what they call it, dementia certified? Are you interested in doing that?
Maybe in the future I am.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. You can get
Yeah.
another certification and learn that dementia piece as well. It's very important and will stand to you indeed, if indeed you do decide to eventually take care of the geriatric customer, so to speak. All right. So let's wrap up here because we've been on for a while. So, would you give any advice and tips, Daphne, that you'd like to pass on to other students, we'll say, that are looking to start in this career? What would be your advice to them? Your takeaway from your experience?
um my advice would be just persevere through the classes. And if you really want to be a CNA, it has to be a passion, not just something you make money out of. I don't really believe that you will be successful in the healthcare system if you're not really passionate about taking care of other people. Because people always mistake, like, doctors are like they're, I want to be a doctor because I want to be rich. But you actually stay as a doctor because you care about other people. So that's um my advice, is just to have a passion of taking care of other people. And just listen in class. You will learn a lot. And if you just listen to the teacher, then you will have insights. And when taking the exam, and you actually ask advices, like, like, in a specific situation, what do you do, what's the best thing to do, then I'm pretty sure you could answer the stuff in the state exam.
Yes.
Like, common sense on what you should do in a particular situation um in the healthcare. That's my advice. And also, just research on stuff, review. Yeah, just do review and ask around. It's better if you could actually ask people who have gone through CNA. Like, that's a good idea as well, if you want to be a CNA.
Yes.
And you know just review.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm guessing it'll be all right with you then if I start a program where we have a mentorship program from a CNA who's experienced and has gone through the program and who is out there working, that we could connect you with the younger person that's maybe on the fence about whether they should come into this class or this industry at all. That would be a great suggestion that you've just mentioned there, that we could actually put in place so that they would get a better sense of what the job is about, because many people don't understand the realm, the roles, and the responsibility as a CNA. They just don't get it. As you said, they're just coming in oftentimes for the money because it's a job, right?
Yeah, I would be glad to help if
Sure.
some people who are just starting off would,
Sure.
ask. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be it.
Well, we'll talk off camera, and I appreciate your time today, Daphne. I wish you the very best of luck. I know you're going to be awesome no matter what you
Thank
do.
you.
That we're here to help you along the way in any way, shape, or form that we can. And thank you for that great advice that you've given to other students. So, we've come to the end of our podcast. It's always fun with Let's Talk Home Care with Aishling. The time always goes by so fast. We learn so much. But I hope that those that listen today share this podcast with those that are looking to come into the healthcare arena. And we're always happy here at the Aishling Care Academy to help anybody who wants those awkward questions answered. I always tell it like it is. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll give you a fair assessment of how things are on this side and how difficult it is or isn't coming through the class and what's required. So thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next podcast. Let's talk. Thank
See you.
you. Bye bye.